Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris and John Vias, Peter Brown with the weather, Gretchen Carey with Community Calendar, and Anthony Matos with sports. Thank you for joining us. Drivers who violate, Drivers who violate Burlington's parking rules will soon see a bigger impact to their wallets after the Select Board voted to increase the fines for most violations last week. Town Administrator Paul Sagarino and Burlington Police Sergeant Gary McDonough outlined the proposed increases, which are meant to bring the town more in line with area communities and to prevent people from using some spaces as cheap parking when commuting into Boston on the MBTA. Sergeant McDonough said the issue with the parking fines came up starting in 2019 when the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department complained that some drivers were parking near the basketball courts at Simons Park and leaving their vehicles there beyond the 4-hour limit. He said after investigating, they determined many of these motorists were leaving their cars there all day and taking the MBTA into Boston. Because the fine for parking over the allowed time was only $5, for many it was a cheaper alternative than parking elsewhere along the MBTA route or driving into Boston. During the meeting, Paul Sagarino and McDonough said they were recommending the fines for parking beyond the time to be raised from $5 to $25 for a first offense and $50 for each subsequent offense. Finally, the increase to the fine levels included other types of parking violations, with most citations including parking within a prohibited or restricted area, parking on a sidewalk or crosswalk, and parking in the wrong direction, among others, being raised from $10 to $25. Violating the town's winter parking ban will now have an initial fine of $25 rather than $10, with $50 tickets being issued for each subsequent event. Judge Philip Weiner paid a visit to Temple Shalom Emeth at their Interfaith Holocaust Memorial Service to talk about his experience in criminal law and how it relates to the events of the Holocaust and the ongoing war in Ukraine. BNEWS reporter John Vias has this report.
Speak of them in your home and on our way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand.
The war on Ukraine. Is the past repeating itself? This was the subject of Temple Shalom Emeth's annual Interfaith Holocaust Memorial Service, held on Friday, April 29th. The temple invited Malden, Massachusetts native Judge Philip Weiner to speak about his experience as a war crimes prosecutor, attorney, and judge, and how it relates to the events of the Holocaust and the ongoing war in Ukraine.
Today is the anniversary of the liberation of the Dachau concentration camp by the U.S. forces, where they liberated 30,000 prisoners at the end of World War II.
I felt that what he did in his career was so very relevant to the Holocaust, particularly what's going on in Ukraine today. And he came up with the topic of Ukraine, are we repeating the past? So that, to me, fit right in with the theme, unfortunately, of the Holocaust.
Knighted for his many accomplishments over the last 40 years, Judge Weiner worked as an attorney who served as a career prosecutor for 20 years, beginning in 1980. In 2001, he worked internationally for over half a decade as a war crimes prosecutor at the International Criminal Tribunal. Returning to the States, he was a criminal law professor at Boston College Law School and then served at the War Crimes Court in Cambodia, overseeing investigations relating to the Khmer Rouge regime.
In fact, one of the major crimes in the war crime area is called crimes against humanity. And when you kill or injure a very large number of people, it affects not just that community, it affects the world. And all of these issues really affect the world. It's not just affecting Ukraine, it's affecting all of Europe, it's affecting the United States and the rest of the world.
Judge Weiner and Rabbi Abramson remind the community that the war in Ukraine is not much different from the events of the Holocaust. While never forget is a common term used among many world tragedies, history still repeats itself.
I think he kind of pulled back the curtain a little bit and really helped us to understand what a war crime is all about and what the more specific issues were. And just even when he started to talk about rape and killing and indiscriminate bombing, we kind of hear about that in the news, but to hear somebody like him talk about it really brought it home in a way that and on a level that is different than what we hear on the news, and I felt that it really impacted me.
After World War II, we said never again, and we must work to make never again not just a slogan, but a reality. and learn how we can stop these tragedies from continuing to occur.
You can catch the full service coming to BCAT's public channel. From Temple Shalom Emeth, this is John Vias for BNEWS Weekly.
As a way of showing solidarity with residents of all races and backgrounds, the Burlington Select Board issued an official proclamation during a meeting last week recognizing the Armenian people and what they faced at the hands of the Ottoman Empire during the Armenian genocide that was conducted from 1915 to 1923. At the meeting was Stephen Bulgarian of the Armenian National Committee of Eastern Massachusetts, accompanied by class of 2020 BHS alum Alex Makarian, who is also of Armenian descent, to receive the proclamation in honor of Armenian Genocide Memorial Day. Bulgarian said his group and others like it have been working to get more recognition for the atrocities and those who suffered through them. Bulgarian added that it is important for all such acts of mass violence to be remembered to both honor the victims and to try and ensure similar actions are not repeated. Select Board Chair Nick Priest said he viewed the issuing the proclamation as an opportunity to stand with residents of all backgrounds. Here is member Jim Tigas, reading the proclamation.
The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas Armenians fled increasing opposition from Ottoman government during the 20th century, coming to America in search of freedom, where they could live in dignity without fear and oppression. And whereas, like many ethnic groups, Armenians settled in Burlington seeking a safe place to live, raise their family, practice their religion, and educate their children, they became an asset to the growth and vitality to the town of Burlington through their strong work ethic, family values, and civic pride. And whereas the Armenian community of Burlington is comprised of the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of the survivors of the Armenian genocide, and whereas 1.5 million Armenian men, women, and children, victims of genocide, perished in the Ottoman Empire from 1915 to 1923. Therefore, the town of Burlington does hereby issue this proclamation in remembrance of the Armenian genocide of 1915 and encourages residents to take part in observance of Armenian Genocide Memorial Day on April 24th, 2022, given this 25th of April, 2022, by the Burlington Select Board. Thank you.
A European-based life science company is looking to open a location in Burlington, continuing a development of that industry in town. According to a special permit application filed with the Planning Department, Stilla Technologies Inc. is in the works to set up a location at 20 Blanchard Road. Stilla Technologies, headquartered in Paris, France, is a life science company that develops, manufactures, and sells specific instrumentation to research laboratories, enabling high-performance genetic research studies. In Burlington, they are looking to open a product demonstration and customer training center in a facility that will also hold a small laboratory to perform molecular research, testing, and support services. According to the application, the company is looking to occupy approximately 7,500 square feet in the building and is seeking special use permits to accommodate such use. No exterior building or site modifications are being proposed at this time. In a letter accompanying the application, Philip Moreau, President and CEO of Stilla Technologies, said the company has been operating in the United States and in Massachusetts since 2019, when it opened a location in Beverly, and this new location will be part of their planned expansion in the country. The special permit application is scheduled to appear before the Planning Board on Thursday, May 19th. Burlington Orthodontics has been making healthier smiles in Burlington for over 50 years and has taken up a new residence at the shops at Simons Park. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak attended the ribbon cutting for their new location and has this look.
Yes!
The shops at Simons Park are livening up, and coming over to join them is Burlington Orthodontics.
So we were in a previous location for 50 years, since 1965.
our office grew. We started having many patients, second generations, and we needed a little bit more space, and we had more technology, and this space opened up, and it was perfect for us to expand into this brand new location. We moved basically from a 3-chair office, and now we have 7 chairs, and we have private operatories, and we're an all-digital practice, so we have 3D scanners, we do 3D printed braces, so it's exciting, the technology that we're bringing to the new office. We needed more space for that. We love being in this community. I mean, we feel part of it, and we've been treating for so many years. We love treating children, 7 years and up, and a big part of our practice are adults as well, and we're happy to see, parents and kids. We really believe in breathing and airways, and that's a very strong part of our practice as well. We work with ear, nose, and throats, myofunctional therapies, so it's more just than straight teeth. So yes, we welcome everyone in Burlington.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
All right.
From Burlington Orthodontics, at the shops at Simons Park, this is BNEWS.
Thank you so much.
Good to see that site is gradually filling up. Pets can bring a lot of joy into our lives, but they can also be sources of stress, in particular when they are sick or injured and in need of care. Add to this situation their normal vet being closed for the day, and things can get even worse. There may soon be an alternative for pet owners in Burlington. Rare Breed Veterinary Partners, a Portland, Maine-based company that operates a group of veterinary clinics, has filed an application with the Planning Department to open a veterinary urgent care clinic at 112 Burlington Mall Road. Similar to human urgent care, veterinary urgent care seeks to treat illness or injuries that are not life-threatening but require medical attention that can't wait for regular veterinary hours. The cover letter for the application states that this new walk-in clinic will provide after-hours, weekend, and holiday care for pets in a comfortable outpatient setting. To accommodate patients during hours when most clinics are closed, the proposed hour for the urgent care center would be Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The application is set to be before the Planning Board during the meeting on Thursday, May 19th. The Burlington Players, no, that's not what we're doing here. Popular author of history books and BHS alum Stephen Puleo was in town to give a talk this week to the Burlington Historical Society about his new book, Voyage of Mercy, the USS Jamestown, the Irish Famine, and the remarkable story of America's first humanitarian mission. BNews Director Rich Hosford went to check it out and has this look.
On Thursday, May 5th, a well-known Burlington native and author of multiple history books returned to his hometown to discuss his newest work. Stephen Puleo, an alumni of the Burlington High School class of 1972, who first became known as an author after his book, Dark Tide, The Great Boston Molasses Flood of 1919, paid a visit to the Burlington Historical Society for a talk about his new book, Voyage of Mercy, the USS Jamestown, the Irish Famine, and the remarkable story of America's first humanitarian mission. The book delves into the history of the famine and details how people across the United States came together to help those suffering across the ocean. Puleo said he was interested in history from a young age, a passion that was further developed during his time as a student here in town.
So I was always very interested in history, and I had a great history teacher at Burlington High School in my junior year. His name was Jeff Hoyt at the time, and really kind of launched my love for history. I had my undergraduate degree in English, but got my master's in history. And always knew that I wanted to write a book, that I wanted to, I thought I had one book in me, and finally got to it in about 2000, 2001, when I researched and started to write Dark Tide, which came out in 2003, and decided I had more than one in me, and now I have 7 done, so very grateful for that.
Puleo's books are known for their focus on people and the stories rather than dry facts, figures, and dates.
For me, it's all about the story. So what I try to do is have a very compelling narrative, a very compelling story that's dramatic. History is very dramatic, and really that story pulls the big history along. So what I try to do is have readers learn the big history almost in spite of themselves as they're going through this really dramatic story. I feel like that's how history should be written, and I feel like that's how history should be taught as well, because it's so interesting and there's so many compelling stories that I think people would enjoy.
During the talk, Puleo gave a lively presentation about his new work and answered many questions from the audience. He said he really enjoys meeting with the public.
I love to meet readers. This is my 631st appearance as an author. I kind of meticulously keep track of each appearance. So I've really been blessed to meet thousands and thousands of readers. And really, that's who I write for. I don't write for critics. I don't write for academics. I write for readers. And so when I'm envisioning who I'm writing for, like writers get that question a lot, who do you envision? I envision a person who has lots of demands on their time, lots of responsibilities, and I'm competing for their time. And so if I can get them to read a few pages, before their evening ends at night or sometime in the morning before they go to work, because the story is compelling, then I feel like I've done my job.
Finally, he said that though he moved out of town decades ago, he has kept close to Burlington and enjoyed being back for the event.
I love being back here. Brings back a lot of memories, and it's a great town. Love driving by the Common. Love going to Simons Park, just because I think they're so beautiful. I think the town's done a great job. So yeah, it's always exciting for me to be here.
From the Murray Carey Wing and the Burlington Senior Center, I'm BNews Director Rich Hosford.
The Burlington Players are welcoming audience members back to 1 Edgemere Avenue for the Bridges of Madison County, which was originally scheduled for the spring of 2020. BNews reporter Robert Paris went to rehearsal and files this report.
They are back. After a 2-year hiatus, the Burlington Players are proud to present the Bridges of Madison County, which was halted due to the pandemic.
It's very exciting and long overdue that we're returning to the theater for live performances of The Bridges of Madison County. It's a beautiful, beautiful musical love story with 3 main characters, a husband, a wife, and a National Geographic photographer who meet by happenstance.
One of the key components in this year's production is the music.
Well, the music is beautiful. It's a very talented and dedicated cast. There have been obviously a lot of hurdles getting here, and they've all worked really hard making the show great and working out around conflicts and restrictions. Particularly, we have been masked the entire time, which is a little bit difficult for the singers and just for communication in general. But it's been great. They've done a great job, and I think we have a really good show.
I spoke to a couple of the cast members who are performing.
I am the young version of Francesca, and I'm just kind of part of her memories.
And I am her sister, Kiara, and I also do memories, but then we also do some live action stuff from the state fair.
Francesca is a war bride from Naples. She married a GI from America and emigrated with him to Iowa, where they started a farm and had 2 children, and they've been married for 18 years. And her family goes off to the 4-H National Finals in Indianapolis, so she's alone for a few days. And she meets Robert.
And Robert's a former war photographer who now works for the National Geographic, and he's a sort of a loner who travels the country taking pictures of any number of things that the National Geographic wants him to go. I think he travels the world more than just the country, and currently he's driving around taking pictures of bridges for the National Geographic.
Jason Hare-Wynn is glad to return as director in this live-action musical.
The awesome thing about Bridges of Madison County is while it's very much a musical, it's also very much a play with music. And it's very important for me, for this show, that the audience that experiences this are more voyeurs into their life than, your standard musical theater.
Tickets are on sale now.
We open Friday, May 6th, and run 10 performances ending on May 21st, a Saturday.
From the Park Playhouse, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Weekly.
Even when you make it to the top of your department, the learning continues. Burlington Police Department reports that Chief Thomas Brown was among approximately 200 graduates of the prestigious FBI National Academy earlier this year. Chief Brown was a participant in the 281st class of the FBI National Academy, an invitation-only training and education program held annually at the FBI training facility in Quantico, Virginia. Known internationally for its academic excellence, the FBI's Academy's rigorous 11-week program demonstrates advanced communication, leadership, and fitness training for selected officers. The course serves to improve the administration of justice in police departments and agencies at home and abroad, and to raise law enforcement standards, knowledge, and cooperation worldwide. Fewer than 1% of the law enforcement officers in the world attend this esteemed program. Following graduation, each officer has the opportunity to join the National Academy Associates, an organization of more than 15,000 law enforcement professionals who actively work to continue developing higher levels of competency, cooperation, and integrity across the law enforcement community. Chief Brown graduated on March 17th. Retired Police Chief Michael Kent, retired Deputy Chief Thomas Duffy, and Captain Gregory Skian have also graduated from the program. Spring temperatures have fully arrived, and to see what's in store for the week ahead, we go now to BNEWS weatherman Peter Brown for the latest forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Gretchen Carey to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown to look at your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards the middle of May. I know we really haven't had too many real spring-like feeling days out there. It looks like this week coming up is going to be pretty nice though, so that's a nice change from us. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing quite as much in terms of clouds and rain around here in the Burlington area, so that's some great news. Now, starting out our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year in the upper 60s to around 70, and it looks like we're going to be, again, a little bit shy of that as we start out our weekend on Friday. It's going to be in the mid-60s, but still pretty nice out there temperature-wise. As we round out the period, getting in towards the end of next week, getting in towards next Thursday, again, average highs at this time of the year should be up around 70, and that's pretty much where we're going to be, maybe a couple of degrees, unfortunately shy of that again. But of course, the one thing that we notice is the days just keep getting longer and longer, and before we know it, the sun is going to be setting after 8 p.m. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us here in the Burlington area in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 to 10 days. Again, now looking at our temperature map, first look, it looks like, oh, we're going to be expecting, a good chance of seeing above average temperatures. That's going to be true as you head further and further north into New England. Our area looks like we're going to see maybe about average temperatures around our area. I'm expecting, unfortunately, looking at what I'm seeing on the weather models, I think we're going to be a little bit cooler than average, though, as we have a stubborn low pressure system that's going to be stalled off the mid-Atlantic coast to our south. Doesn't look like right now it's going to bring us too much rain, but it's going to keep those cool east and northeasterly winds coming into the Burlington area. Now, as we look at our precipitation chances, look at this. We are in the bullseye of seeing below average precipitation for the entire country, so it is definitely going to be dry out there. Again, that's going to depend exactly where this cutoff low, which is a stalled low south of us, sets up further enough south of us. It's going to stay pretty sunny, dry, and cool. If it gets a little bit closer to us, we could be seeing more away at clouds and temperatures very chilly out there. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what we're seeing for the next 7 days as we look at our next weather forecast here. And again, starting out on weekend here on Friday, it's going to be a little bit dicey out there, a couple of showers here and there, temperatures in the mid-60s. Now, that storm system that we're talking about, that low that's going to be stalled off of the mid-Atlantic coast is going to be setting up shop Friday night into Saturday. And that's going to bring that cool, stiff east wind here into the Burlington area. So Saturday, I'm not expecting temperatures to get really out of the mid and upper 50s. Even though it's going to be sunny out there, it is going to be chilly. Now, as we get into Sunday, that system is going to start to slide to the south and west of us a little bit. So we're not going to have as strong of an easterly wind, so a little bit warmer getting back up into the 60s. And there, after going out through the rest of next week, it's going to be fair skies just about every day. Very cool mornings as we start out some mornings in the 30s. And we're going to be seeing our temperatures increase a little bit as that storm starts to dissipate to our south. So it looks like temperatures will finally get to about near average when we get towards the end of the period. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your community calendar. On May 14th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the Burlington Sculpture Park Committee will be holding a dedication ceremony to dedicate the global warming sculpture. For more information, go to burlingtonsculpturepark.org. Also on May 14th from 3 to 4 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a new book club called Flights in Fantasy. For more information and to register, go to burlingtonpubliclibrary.org. On May 15th at 11:30 a.m., Bikram Yoga in Burlington is having an event called Mother's Day Pilates Celebration. For more information, call 781-272-2129.
For the latest Red Devil action, we go now to BNEWS sports reporter Anthony Matos for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, I'm Anthony Matos, and this is your weekly sports report. A lot has been happening at BHS, including the boys track winning their second consecutive MSTCA D4 relay, and girls softball remained undefeated. The Lady Devils tennis team's meet against Wilmington was canceled on April 27th. On April 28th, the ladies had an away meet in Arlington where they lost 5-0. Burlington is currently 3-6 on the season after a loss to Belmont at home on May 3rd, 4-1. Red Devils tennis was back at Rohannes Park on April 28th and 29th. On the 28th, Burlington competed against Stoneham where they won in a shutout victory of 5-0. They had another home meet on the 29th against our Arlington Spy Ponders where they won in a close match of 3-2. They had a meet against Wilmington on May 2nd where they lost 3-1. Burlington moves to 6-4 in the season after the loss in Belmont on May 3rd, 0-5. Lady Devils lacrosse competed against Stoneham and Watertown last week. In Stoneham, the Lady Devils had a shutout victory of 15-0. Then on April 29th, they had a home meet against Watertown where they lost 19-3. Burlington is now 6-4 in the season and will have an away game at Pierce Turf in Arlington on May 4th. Red Devils lacrosse had a home game against Stoneham on April 27th at Varsity Field. Burlington had a one-sided affair against the Spartans, 11-1. Burlington had a great game at Victory Field in Watertown on April 29th as they shut out the Red Raiders 19-0. The Red Devils had a home game against Acton Boxborough on May 2nd. Let's roll the highlights.
It was a rainy evening at Varsity Field for Red Devils lacrosse as they competed against Acton Boxborough on May 2nd. In the first quarter, it was all knotted up at 1-1. Acton Boxborough had another 6 goals on net, while the Red Devils had one, 7-2 at half. AB had another 3 goals in the third, and Burlington with 2, 10-4 after 3. AB finished with another 2 goals in the fourth, with the Red Devils adding 1. 12-5 your final, Acton Boxborough.
Burlington moves to 4-4 in the season. We'll have another home game against Arlington on May 4th. Red Devil baseball had a home game at Francis Wyman on April 27th against the Arlington Spy Ponders where they lost 8-1. Burlington was back in the win column at April 29th with a 6-5 victory in Belmont. Burlington goes to 5-6 on the season after a loss to Woburn at Francis Wyman on May 3rd, 7-5. Lady Devils softball is on a roll as they won 3 games over Arlington, Belmont, and Westford Academy. On April 27th, they had an away game against Arlington where they lost with a blowout victory of 8-1. Following the win over Arlington, the team traveled back home for a game at Marvin Field against the Belmont Martyrs on April 29th. The ladies won another blowout victory of 18-4. On April 30th, Burlington had an away game in Westford, who were undefeated at the time. It took 11 innings to declare a winner, but in the end, Burlington took home the victory of 1-0. Burlington is now 12-0 on the season after competing at Liberty Park in Woburn on May 3rd, getting the win 4-1. Both track teams were back at Varsity Field on April 26th for a home meet against the Melrose Red Raiders and competed at the MSTCA District 4 relays over the weekend. Red Devils track continued the season undefeated at 3-0 with a 76-59 win over the Red Raiders. Another home meet on May 4th against Wakefield. At the MSTCA District 4 relays, Burlington came in first place out of 17 schools and finished with a total of 74 points. This is the Red Devils' second consecutive win at the MSTCA Division 4 relays. Congrats, gentlemen, on being named relay champs again. Lady Devils track winning streak came to an end against Melrose. They lost 46-90. This loss moves the team to 2-1 on the season, and they will have another home meet against Wakefield on May 4th. The ladies also attended the MSTCA Division IV relays over the weekend at Pembroke High School. Burlington finished with a total of 43 points and came in 5th place out of 19 other schools. You can check out the girls' and boys' results at mstca.org. In other news, head coach Jess McCarthy was named the Division III Boston Globe All-Scholastic Coach of the Year. Congrats on the accomplishment. Red Devils Volleyball had 3 matches last week against Salem, Somerville, and Arlington. On April 27th, the team had an away meet in Salem where they lost a 5-set match of 3-2. Burlington was back in the win column April 29th with a shutout set win of 3-0 at home against Somerville. Let's check out the highlights.
Red Devil Volleyball and the Somerville Highlanders were both ready to compete on April 29th. Let's hit the court. In the first set, the Devils were the first to make it to the set point of 25, while Somerville had 18, 1-0 Burlington. Set 2 was similar to the first, as the Highlanders had 17 points, and Burlington with 25, 2-0 Burlington. The final set was kept close as Somerville scored 22 points, but in the end, Burlington prevailed to the set point of 25. Final score, 3-0 Devils.
The Red Devils had an away meet in Arlington on April 30th where they lost at another 5-set match of 3-2. Burlington moves to 2-3 in the season after losing to Winchester 3-0 in the meet on May 2nd. The Red Devils will have an away game in Lexington on May 5th. The Burlington Unified Basketball team had their home opener on April 27th against Lexington when they won 43-28 and moved to 2-0 in the season. The Red Devils will have another home game against Watertown on May 4th. Catch more Red Devil action on our website and check out our Twitter page at BNEWS Sports. That's all for this week. Back to you guys in the studio.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo features a great sign that warm weather is finally arriving. It was sent in by Gwen McNamee and shows flowers blooming in her Burlington backyard. Great to see this hint of spring. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your spring activities, a family trip, or everyday moments. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share, send your photos to BCAT at bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Finally, remember to stay tuned after the news for this week's Burlington Public Schools update with Superintendent Eric Conti and Assistant Superintendent Patrick Larkin for all the latest education news. And that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Rich Hosford, John Vias, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Peter Brown, Gretchen Carey, and Anthony Matos. Thank you for joining us.